Siri, what time is it?
It's 9:26 p.m.
So here's what you have to understand. It's 9:26 p.m. and I asked you, where's your advisor? This is my Sunday night Syndicate report. I've been espousing money lines on the radio at 1400 a.m. with Brian Blessing the whole entire MLB season. I talked about at the All-Star break how it literally was the best bet in MLB. Don't believe me? Don't believe that you can make money betting both sides of the same game? Well, here at 9:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as you see Sin City behind me, but I'm in my office in Baltimore, Maryland. Let's go over Saturday, and then we'll get over to Sunday. Yesterday, if you played every single run line plus 1.5, you were 12-3. 12-3. In the American League, you were 6-1. In the Interleague, you were 1-0. And in the National League, you were 5-2, making it 12-3 for the day yesterday. In addition, if you're an arbitrage player playing both sides of the same game, a lot of people don't understand that. You went 2-0 in the San Francisco Dodgers matchup with a final of 2-1. You went 2-0 in the Philadelphia-Atlanta matchup with the final score being 4-3. You went 2-0 in the Cubs-Brewer matchup with the final score being 2-1. And then in the American League, you went 2-0 in the Tampa Bay Yankee game with the final score being 5-4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 games where you make money betting both sides of the same game because the team that was plus 1.5 lost by 1. So what that means is the favorite won, and then the favorite on the money line that you converted into a dog also won. Now, you don't get to pick which team is plus 1.5. This is what I've been talking about the whole season. You don't get to pick. You get to pick which side you want to bet of a game straight up in any sport, but you don't get to pick which team is going to be plus 1.5. The line makers pick. And the trick of the line makers is they want to get you to bite into laying the 1.5, getting the extra dog money, converting a favorite into a dog. And this is why it's such a horrible bet. Literally at almost 70% right now in the season. If you're willing to lay the heavy number, you are killing it and smashing the bookmakers. Most people don't have the intestinal fortitude to do that. Most people want to look to get the dog money. Now, I'm always a big believer in playing dogs straight up. But when I see a trend, as I like to say, the trend is your friend. Let's move over to today. It's 9:25. You still have games that haven't finished yet. But so far today, in the American League, it's been a perfect sweep on the plus 1.5. Listen. A perfect sweep as you are currently right now. 6-0 this Sunday if you played every team plus 1.5 points. Kansas City wins outright plus 1.5. Tampa Bay wins outright plus 1.5. The Los Angeles Angels-Toronto game wins both sides 11-10 final. The Minnesota-Oakland game wins both sides 6-5 final. So far today you've had another 4 games where you've made money betting both sides. In the National League, you are currently right now 3-3 on the run line. But you are 2-0, which is really 4-0, betting both sides of the Atlanta-Philadelphia game. Again, I repeat, yesterday it was 4-3. You made money on both sides. Today in the Atlanta series, it was 2-1. You make money on both sides. Yesterday, Arizona-St. Louis, it was a blowout. Arizona won the game 7-1. But today, the game wins both sides as St. Louis wins at home 3-2, and you get the 1.5 back on Arizona. The Angels-Toronto game, as I said, 11-10, and the Minnesota-Oakland game 6-5. So again, a lot of one-run games. 4 yesterday, 4 today. So far today, currently, if you just played the run lines, you're 9-3, not hedging or betting both sides of the game. Yesterday, you were 12-3. Do you hear what I'm saying? 9-3 and 12-3. So if you're not going to lay the heavy wood, on the plus 1.5. Know this, the worst bet in baseball is to lay the 1.5 because the numbers are completely stacked against you day in and day out. Sure, you'll have some days where you have aberrant behavior, but if you have certain systems where you know not to do certain things, like play road teams in baseball to win straight up, you have the edge. Yesterday, you were 9-6 if you played every home team at home, but you were 12-3 if you played every plus 1.5. Today so far, I'll go through it. I didn't go through it before the video. You are currently 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're 2-4 on the home team straight up, but you're 3-3 on the run lines with 2 games winning both sides. In the American League, where you're 6-0 this Sunday, 6-0, no handicapping, just taking the plus 1.5. On the home teams, you are 4-2. So you're 4-2 in the American League on the home team straight up, but you're 6-0 on the run line. Obviously, games are pending, and then you have a 1-0 with Seattle winning at home, making it 9-3 straight up. So what you have to understand is this. In order to be a member of the Syndicate Insider, you have to come in from the outside, as I always say, on Snapchat, at John Syndicate. You have to come into the inside, as I always say, on Instagram, at John Syndicate. But understand, in order to come in from the inside, from the outside to the inside, you must understand that you don't try to step in front of a freight train. If a team's on a winning streak, you want to ride that team. If plus 1.5 has been killing it this season, you can do certain things because in order for you to come in from the outside to the inside, I'm not a daily pick provider. You can't go onto my website and buy a pick for $25. You can't buy daily action for $25. You have to make the commitment of a minimum of 7 days, preferably 30 days, because I'm trying to change you into being a degenerate sports daily gambler, worrying about the short term and have you look at the long term. And the way I create wealth for all my clients is having them run the marathon, not the sprint. Now, I didn't play any games yesterday because I was running a marathon, literally, riding a marathon. I did 115 miles in what's called a century ride. And people were blowing my phone up saying, where's the games? Where's the games? Where's the games? Here's the bottom line. There's always more games. If you're so hyper-focused on where you stand because you're dealing with a credit better at the end of the week, you're making a huge mistake and you're not doing it correctly. Tonight was the opening night of training camp where people could go to the Baltimore Ravens Stadium in the city and watch them train for the first time. You'll turn on the TV, you'll start hearing them up the ante on the marketing of the NFL. We know that you're obsessed with NFL. We know that you love NFL. We also know it's a square sport. We know that NFL is for squares. We know wise guys are making money here in the now with international soccer, CFL, WNBA, and MLB. They're not building their bankrolls for football season. You'll hear a lot of people say, build your bankroll in the summer for football season. What's so special about the football season other than the weather turns to shit in September and you get into the winter in the East Coast and the Midwest, unless you happen to live in Nevada or in California? There's nothing special about the football season. Why would anyone welcome the worst weather in the United States? But for some reason, they've done a very good marketing scheme where they market you to love the sport that's hardest to beat. Now, does that mean that we're not just as profitable in the NFL? Absolutely not. What we're not doing is we're not playing all 14 games on a Sunday. We're not hyper-focused on worrying about teams that play 16 games the whole season. When you can make money in a global market, especially a sport like NBA where there's over 80 games, or in MLB where there's over 60 games per season. This is what you have to focus in. You have to decide what you're trying to achieve. Tomorrow is July 31st. Tuesday is August 1st. That means you are literally going into the second half of the year. Ask yourself, has the profits been what you're looking for, or have you been chasing the short term? One of my marketing buddies that is in a marketing business notice that most pick sites, they brag about their short-term record. This guy's 8-2. This guy's 9-2. Professional sports gamblers don't care about win-loss percentages. They care about money management and making money. So if you're trying to make it a great half of the year and you've been sitting back idly waiting for the hardest season and the hardest sport to beat, which is the NFL, understand the cream of the crop bettors that do this for a living, the big rollers, the big syndicates, they understand NFL is not for losers. It's for winners. And that means 99% of the bettors that bet NFL, they lose, which is why the limits are unlimited in Las Vegas. They're scared of MLB in Las Vegas. You can't get down a lot of money in Las Vegas. They'll tell you it's the lack of interest. That's nonsense. If they set the limit, they set the limit. Why do you think you can walk into a sports book on any NFL Sunday and go double-fisted, both hands on an NFL game? Because the edge is in their favor. Think about this. I'm sitting here at Sunday night, and I'm not looking at any MLB games. I'm already looking at the soccer that my sources have sent me for tomorrow. Do you want to come in from the outside? Do you want to come into the inside? Do you want to make it a very profitable rest of the year, not football season? Because before you know it, hockey will start, college basketball will start, NBA will start again after the WNBA season ends. But if you're going to be hyper-focused on worried about them going and listen to the NFL, you're a loser. NFL is not for losers. It's for the sharpest of the sharps. The only ones that make money in the NFL are guys that spot play 1 game a week, 2 games a week, or they're in-game trading. They're sitting back and they're watching the first half and they're waiting for the second half. This is your Syndicate Sunday night report. Look at the numbers. 6-0 sweep in the American League thus far at plus 1.5. 9-3 for the day. Yesterday, 12-3 on the plus 1.5. If you lay 1.5 and you're watching this video, you don't like money. If you play road teams, predominantly, you don't like money. Straight up. This is free information that you're getting. Listen, membership is limited. Rewards are great. There's a reason why I have a password-protected links in my website, because I'm not dealing with the riffraff. Think of me like a Ferrari, and they got the red ribbon around, the red loop around the Ferrari, and in order for you to gain interest, you have to qualify yourself. Nobody's just going to walk into a Ferrari dealership and take a test drive. Most people, if you're watching this video, are looking for the what can I do now? What can I win now? What can I make now? Now doesn't matter. If you go 5-0 tonight, it doesn't matter. If you're betting on your own with an absence of information and you're simply getting lucky. Because like every other client that I've talked to for over 30 years, I've been in this is my 31st football season. Once football starts August 3rd with the Hall of Fame game. 31 years. Nothing's changed with the mentality of losing gamblers. What has changed is plenty of people have come in from the outside to the inside and decided to be sports traders. Now, I coined this phrase years ago. I see it everywhere. Everybody's claiming to be a sports investor. Everybody's claiming to be a sports trader. Ask the person that's trying to sell you picks or information, that sports investor and sports trader, if they're available 24/7. If they're in their office at 9:40, 9:50 at night on a Sunday night, trading games live. If not, don't buy into the hype. Understand there's no free lunch. Quality, not quantity, is what rules the day. Happy Sunday. We're only a few days away from August. August 3rd will be here before you blink. Sure, I love football, but again, it's just a piece of the puzzle. It's not the whole pie. Good day and good luck. This is your Syndicate Sunday Report.